One of the things that you need to keep in mind is that trouble projects, they may arise also from the wrong delivery approach. If we go back and try to go back to the basics of project management, you have some approaches that are incremental and some approaches that are iterative. In common terms, everybody knows that I don't like these terms, but this is more waterfall or traditional. This is why I don't like the word, because traditional may sound like old, and it's not. And this one is more towards agile. Okay? Just for us to have this. What's the root of the incremental? Incremental means you have a clear view and a clear scope of what you want to do, then you plan, then you execute, then you control, right? Then you control while executing. On the other side, what do? You have an idea, you develop that idea, you produce a minimum viable product, you test, you design and say, oops, it's working, not working. If it's not working, you throw away and you develop it in a different way, and you interact with your client, your customer, your user, and then you move on. This is excellent. Let me repeat, excellent, when you have a defined product. This is excellent when you have a clear goal. This is excellent when you have a contract that has very clear specifications on what you should deliver. Let me give you an example. You are building an airport. You are building an oil refinery. On the other side here, it's when you have, an idea, and you want to test this idea. When you have a clear goal in a strategic terms, but you are open to change. And here, you are far more flexible. If you mix this, there is a good chance you will be in trouble. Let me give you a couple of examples. Let's suppose you want to use a full agile approach to build, for example, a new airport. But you want only to use agile teams and everything. I'm not saying, again, let me go one step back. A project like an airport is such a big project that, of course, you will have pockets of everything there. But let's talk about the core of the project, the core of the project. Then you decide to do it in Agile. Let's suppose you decide to do the runaway using Agile. So what do? You just, cut the trees, make a quick landscaping, and you say, now planes, just start landing and taking off. Let's see if it works. If we need to make a little bit wider or a little bit shorter, let's say, oh God, that plane crashed. No, we need to increase. This doesn't work. Do you agree with me? There is a lot of contract. There is a lot of regulations that just do not allow you to do that. You just cannot do that. You need to have very clear specifications before you cut the first tree, or before you do the first meter of landscaping. There is a lot of documents. There is a lot of approvals that you need to have in place to build a new airport. So this delivery approach will bring you more control over your process. If you use this, there is a big chance that you'll be in trouble. Now let's flip to the other side. Let's suppose you are developing a very innovative product, and a product that you You don't know, you want to serve people with that specific need. For example, you are creating a niche of social network for example, vegetarians. And you are building a social network where vegetarians will share their recipes, they will share their lifestyle, and you want to create a community for those who are mainly vegetarian, just as an example. If you do that, my objective is clearly to have all the vegetarians. My objective is to define what a vegetarian is. It will be very tough because you bring a rigid control into something that is much more exploratory. You need what to do, you need to test, you need to talk to vegetarians, because maybe someone can come and say, look, I am a plant-based. Will I benefit from vegetarian or no? I am a vegan. Will I benefit or not? So there are several questions. What this social network will bring to me? What's the value of that for me? So what you need to do, you need to test, you need to evaluate, you need to test and see, will people join this? This will work or not? It's a much more exploratory. If you come and make a contract and make this rigid, what will happen? You will fail. And this is why, for example, many innovation projects fail. Many innovation projects, because incumbent companies, incumbent old, more traditional, I would say they have this mindset of everything very clear, deadlines very sharp, but they don't know exactly what will happen when they open the box. And this is a different approach. And then you may ask me, which is the best? And there is no best. Which is the best? That you use the right approach for your problem. Many times, IT projects, they fail miserable because most of the IT projects, they involve a lot of, I would say, exploration, things that we don't know. And we should move towards much more iterative process than the traditional ones. When we use this, we just, it's like handcuffing everybody. They don't have flexibility. And then innovation without flexibility, you go nowhere. This is why it's important for you to understand how your approach will remove the project from trouble or will really help to sink your project and your project become a failed project.